I think I'm here for God to work on me. Emmaus was prayerfully looking at how God might expand our ministry in South Salem, and so we pulled together a weekend we called Serve Salem, and we intentionally visited and helped serve at 5 different ministries. We were also taking a fancy bus tour of the whole city with Sam Skillern and the Salem Leadership Foundation. But the capstone was a potluck we had planned at Cascade Gateway Park. So many people may know it's a great place to play Frisbee golf. It's a great place to take your kids fishing. But I had no idea that there are people living in the park. When another church called Ecclesia heard that we were doing that, they wanted in on it. And each of us realized, you know what? We could take our potluck each month that we would have as a church anyway, and we can go and have that at the park. And so Emmaus took 1 week a month and Ecclesia took another. The more that we shared meals, and the more that we heard stories, and the more that we saw lives being transformed, we realized we had a lot to learn about ministry. I was sharing about what was happening at a Can Center meeting, and Craig Oviatt pulled me aside and he asked if West Salem Foursquare could come out.
Well, we saw this article in the paper about the Dream Center in West Salem, and we recognized Craig Oviatt. Long story short, we ended up getting a phone call that there is an opportunity to go serve at Cascade Gateway Park.
We found out that they needed help with coffee because it was a little cold or there wasn't enough, so we said we can do the coffee.
We started a fellowship with Ecclesia and Emmaus. It was kind of like this is the way church should be. So the more we went out, the more we served, the more we knew this was our call.
And then it was in our minds that, okay, they have a meal twice a month. Maybe they could have a meal every week.
So within 4 months, we had 4 different churches partnering in the park. There was Emmaus and Ecclesia, but then Outward and West Salem Foursquare had joined us. It was at that point that we started praying, who in our group is called to be out here every week? Mark and Kathy Walker felt a call from God that they were supposed to come into a new season of life, that this was going to be their church family. Church at the Park was born.
So people think the homeless are lazy, they don't want to work, alcoholics, drug addicted, thieves. We've learned that they're just like you and me. All they need is someone to walk beside them. All they need is someone to hear their stories, really. We're available and we hunt down these resources. Then we take people to Social Security appointments, get their IDs, birth certificates. We take them to housing appointments, doctor's appointments. We end up visiting people in the hospital.
So one of the first couples we met was Misty and Devin. Their story is similar to a lot of people's stories, where they just get jammed up and run out of work, and they end up at the park.
They lost their car while they were out there. So then they went from car campers, as they call them, to living in a tent. I would say they probably felt like they'd hit bottom at that point.
The park tries to drag people into this hole. It's a dark place sometimes.
It was really disheartening, really disheartening. We were just going through some really rough times and had nowhere to go. There was a lot of shame. I had never been in that situation. The first time we went up to fly a sign, I remember he was holding the sign and these people drove by and they threw a full unopened can of soda and hit me in the head with it. Get a job, you lazy blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and just not understanding that we didn't choose to be homeless. That's when we met the Walkers. They helped me to understand why things happen and there's a reason for everything. The church people were just beautiful. I mean, everyone's hugging. They're not looking at you like, oh, you haven't showered in 2 weeks. They're just They're hugging you and holding you, and God doesn't care what you wear to church. I don't know where I'd be right now if I wouldn't have gone through that experience. I mean, it's made me really strong. My relationship with God is just tenfold. It's a blessing. Things started to change when Devin got hired on at Truett Brothers. We were able to save up enough money to get out of there, and it just kind of dominoed from there. We made it. We made it. It's possible. It's possible. If people only knew the side of homelessness that I experienced in the 2 years I was out there, I think a lot of hearts would change. A lot of minds would change. The whole persona of homelessness in general would change. I'm telling you, I guarantee you, I will put my life on it that you will not, that if you come out one Sunday, it'll change your heart. I guarantee it.